This summer I'm taking my family to Disneyland. We have been planning for almost a year to go and all three of my kids are ecstatic. Everything has honestly been great so far and it looked to be a great vacation, until recently. This is where my 13-year-old son James comes in. James has been a problem child as of recent. He's been acting up in school, getting in trouble around the house, and been an overall headache for me. I've always had the mindset that kids will be kids. Hating school is fine, I get it. And he's getting to that age where he's going to push back a little, but he has tested my every nerve. I've tried to handle it with care and be the good cop. Try and handle it with love and care, you know? Well, that changed this last week. James was caught shoplifting. The store called us and my wife had to go and deal with it. The owner was nice enough not to get the police involved and we made James pay for what he was going to steal. That was not enough for me. The minute I got home I sat him down and lectured him. He seemed to not really care and eventually started to argue with me. Eventually, I had enough and told him that he's lost his right to go to Disney with us. He immediately started to apologize and begged to go, but I told him no. I told him he will instead be going to my parents and working on my dad's farm for that time while his sisters have fun at Disney. James has been a wreck since then. He's been crying to his mom for me to reconsider and claiming he'll stop being bad, but I don't buy it. My wife says I'm being too harsh and to let him go, but I feel like this is where we need to put our foot down. My dad says I'm doing the right thing and is all for working with him while we go to Disney, but could I be wrong? I feel like maybe a second opinion would be good here. So, what do you guys think? Not the idiot, but personally I would give him an opportunity to earn your trust back and go on the trip. In the end, it will be a punishment for your whole family because he won't be a part of that shared experience. Think about your family recalling the trip in your kid's adulthood and having James remember how he wasn't allowed to go. But you know the extremity of his recent mean streak more than us, and if you think a flat-out ban from the trip is the most effective action to take, then that is your prerogative. You are the idiot. You were making excuses for his behavior. Then out of nowhere, you take away a huge thing that is completely unrelated to what he got in trouble over. When it comes to removing something big like a trip, it shouldn't establish ahead of time with specific rules in place on what the violation is. This is arbitrary and you did it out of anger. If he sees it like this, he might learn the lesson that it doesn't actually matter what he does. Not the idiot. You're his parent, not his friend. This is one punishment he will not forget. However, do bring him something from Disney, or maybe take him to a ball game or something after the vacation and explain why you made the choice that you did. Still, be firm and tell him that if he doesn't square up, then you have no reserves about making him work on the farm instead of doing fun things. Overall, I do not think this is an idiot move. If you want to be fair from his side, give an ultimatum of 0 slip-ups, and if he follows through, reward him by taking him with you. My boyfriend and I have been dating for almost 2 years, and I've been unsure about our relationship for a few months. I've talked it out with my therapist because I can be kind of a commitment phobic, but the truth is that I just wasn't excited about him the same way he is about me. The old "I love you, but I'm not in love with you." There's other stuff too. He wants kids, I don't. We don't get along with each other's families, etc. But that's the main thing. My birthday was last Friday, and I decided to wait until after my birthday to break up with him. This wasn't because I was expecting a generous gift, but because 2 of our friends were coming to town from overseas for my birthday party and I didn't want to ruin their visit, for them or for my BF. At my party, my BF presented me with a $1,500 check to pay off my tuition balance for my final semester of school, which may not sound like a lot to some people, but it would have taken me almost a year to save up this much and would delay getting my diploma by a year. I am really grateful for the gift. But I broke up with him that Sunday once our friends left because he again started a conversation about our future kids and I couldn't hold it in. He was devastated and I feel terrible, but it was the right decision. He says, "Keep the money, it doesn't matter." Half of our friends say, "Give it back, he wouldn't have given you that gift if he knew you were dumping him." The other half say it was a gift given freely and to keep it. You are the idiot or would be if you didn't return it. If we look at perception versus intent, there is no way this will not be viewed by others as waiting for a gift and then dumping him immediately after. Yes, it would help and it was nice of him to give it to you, but I think the only morally non-questionable route going forward is to return it to him. Basically, if you don't want to come out of this looking like a huge idiot to everyone you know, return the money. You would be the idiot. He only said to keep the money because he's upset. Maybe he wants to appear generous in hopes of keeping you interested? Maybe he's hurt because you just broke up with him and then immediately asked if you could keep the $1,500 he gave you 2 days earlier? Maybe he's feeling apathetic? Either way, he's not thinking straight. Would he have given you the money if he knew you planned on leaving? No matter what he says now, if you keep the money, his memory of you will be that ex that he gave $1,500 to and then immediately left him and kept the money. Not the idiot. A gift is a gift. I mean, it's awful for him, sure, but he has said to keep it. So long as you use it for the intended purpose and don't be bad to him, it'll be fine. At least it's an amicable breakup. If you are the kind of person who is able to maintain a relationship with an ex, do so, and make up the gift in the future when you can return the support or gift something he could not do alone. I'm the mom of 2 girls, 8 and 10 years old, with my husband. I also have a 21-year-old stepdaughter that I've known since she was 6. We took her to Disney when she was 11 before our 10-year-old was born. Fast forward to now, we've decided our younger girls are old enough to go. My in-laws are coming, paying their own way, and my sister is too, also paying her own way. As I'm sure you know, Disney is expensive. We've been saving up for a while and assumed when we were going, it was a time that my stepdaughter couldn't come because of college classes. She told us that she'll be off that week so she can. I explained that we can't afford to take her too, but if she can save up for the park fare and plane ticket, she can stay in one of the rooms, then she can come. She got mad and said it wasn't fair that we had planned this family trip without her, and that I expect her to pay it on her own when she's a college student. She has a job, but she doesn't make a lot. Her grandparents can't help her much either, but are now saying they feel bad about going and maybe we should postpone until we can all go. I said that she's an adult and it's not unreasonable to ask her to pay her own way. They ended up agreeing, but my stepdaughter is even more upset and my sister is starting to side with her, though she can't financially help her. Are we being unfair here? You are the idiot. You planned a family trip without her at a time when she clearly couldn't make it. Then when she made changes to accommodate, she feels she was treated unfairly for having to pay when her siblings don't. I don't have step-siblings so I can't tell you much first-hand experience, but I'm sure you can see how her being treated differently from your biological children is a sensitive issue. On a side note, if you can't afford her tickets and she can't, perhaps there are grandparents, aunts, uncles that could help? As the elder daughter from a previous marriage, I get how she is feeling. You have basically excluded her from a family vacation. To her, it looks like she's not as important as your other daughter, which really hurts, by the way. I get she is an adult, but it's not like she's really earning money. She can't afford to pay for herself the same way your sister can. Definitely you are the idiot. Try and find a compromise and ask her for as much money as she can spare maybe? I know when I was a student I had to work to afford to feed myself and pay rent. No way I could have afforded a holiday. Not the idiot. I have paid for my own vacation with my parents since I began working at the age of 18. I'm sorry, but this is a trip she has already made herself as a child with expenses paid. She changed her mind last minute and expects you to accommodate her. I don't see this as being an idiot behavior, and I don't see it as you not loving her like the other children. I see it as an adult needing to take responsibility for her own actions and learning that if you can't afford something, then don't do it. My nephew is 15 years old and he comes to stay with me every summer for a few weeks. He's recently taken up the hobby of drawing, and as soon as he came to stay with me, he asked if he could use my comics to get inspiration for his own drawings. I said yes. Since I still have to work every day, he spends about 9 hours a day alone. When I come home, he shows me his drawings, and they look really good. One day, he showed me an extremely elaborate drawing that I recognized, and I said something like, "Wow, this looks exactly like the comic, how did you do that?" And he said, "Well, like all of my drawings, I traced it." I almost blacked out when he said that. I went to my comic collection and started opening them up, and I saw traces of pen all over them. Some of the pages were slightly torn in places because he pressed too hard with the pen. He spent about 3 weeks drawing, every day, for hours, and he traced a pen over about a half of my comics. My initial reaction was pretty bad. I got really angry and shouted at him, told him he was too old to be doing stupid thing like this and that he should know better than to ruin other people's things. When I separated all of the ruined comics, I calculated they cost about $600. I told him I was going to tell his mom and he begged me not to. He said he had some money saved up and asked if he can buy the comics from me. He said he had $400, and that he would save and give me the other $200 in a few months, but I said he can have them for $300. When his parents joined us last week, his mom noticed he was missing $300. She knew he had $400 because he said he would get some new clothes and look for art supplies in my city. She asked him what he had bought that was so expensive, and he eventually told her the truth. Then, my sister and her husband freaked out on me for taking money from a child and demanded I give it back. I said I was already doing them a favor for forgiving him half the cost. They said he needs that money, and I said they can reimburse him then since they didn't bother teaching him not to destroy other people's property. Then she said, "It's only comics, you 30-year-old baby." My sister and Bill were supposed to stay with us for a week, and my nephew for another 3 weeks, but they all went home together after 2 painfully silent days. In the end, my parents got involved and told me off for stealing money that they gifted him. My sister took the comics and said I can have them back when I give them the money back, so never, and I said that my nephew can come back to stay with me when she realizes she's unnecessarily punishing him by taking him home. They live in the middle of nowhere, and I live in a big city on the coast. We haven't spoken in a week now. Not the idiot. I mean, what? Your nephew ruined your comic books, you charged him only half of the cost, and his parents are angry with you? Dude, your nephew is 15. That's a year away from being able to legally drive a car, assuming you live in the US. He's old enough to take responsibility for his own actions, especially something in the incredibly simple context of I destroyed something that belongs to you and now I have to pay for it. You let him off easy, and his parents should be thankful for that. No idiots here, except for the kid's parents. You probably could have reacted better initially, but the solution you two came to was fair. He's 15, not only old enough to know better but old enough to take responsibility for his actions. It's his money, not his parents', and obviously felt bad about what he did. I think it shows the maturity that he offered to buy them without his parents forcing him or getting involved. The agreement was in no way weird. He's almost an adult and handled as such in my opinion. Guess it depends on what you want out of it. Is $300 more important to you than your nephew? I agree he should know better. I also agree your sister is an idiot. Chances are he didn't recognize the actual value they hold, and kudos to him for offering to replace them. If my nephew did that, I'd be happy to let it go knowing he was willing to make reparations or think of a different punishment. At the end of the day, $300 is a lot more to a 15 years old than a working adult. My ex-wife and I have a healthy relationship with the kids and with each other as adults. We have always both been great parents, 50-50 custody, avoided the nastiness we've always heard about in other people's split up since divorcing, and have always been very helpful and civil to each other and the kids. 10 years have gone by and it's been incredibly nice, peaceful, and healthy for the kids and ourselves. We all go to my son's football games together, save each other's seats at my daughter's recitals, etc. And in a word, things have been perfect for a decade until this past year. My ex's spouse, call him Robert, has been having some anger issues and degrading my children, calling them stupid, worthless, screaming in their faces, breaking their things, punching holes in doors/walls, etc. Losing control without provocation, and the children are afraid to be there, asking if they can stay with me permanently. He is not laying his hands on them, but the kids fear he will one day, and I share their concern. My daughter is 14 and my son 12, and my daughter has Googled her options and is threatening to petition the court to make the choice for them both and has asked me to support her decision. Speaking with their mother and Robert about this, I have tried to hold my daughter's choice off more than once, while feeling awful, to give her the opportunity to sort her household perils. Each time, she has decided to make it work since he is their only provider, doesn't make much, she has no family in the state, they share one vehicle due to an unforeseen repair, in middle 40s starting over with a toddler and working to improve their situation, etc. I am more than sympathetic to her desperation to make it work. He is on meds, sees a counselor, all things their mother required after an incident, screaming at the kids until they were crying and shaking and couldn't even tell me legibly what had happened. But chance after chance it has not stopped, and each time they called begging me to pick them up before quickly getting off the phone for fear of being discovered. I have decided that I am telling my ex-wife this weekend that I will support my daughter in her petition regardless if it ruins our co-parent progress from the last decade, because I cannot let my kids think I condone what's happening or will fail them when they ask for my help. And I feel like a humongous idiot for doing this to my ex-wife, who's in a very tough situation with seemingly no exit, which no doubt makes me feel like I'm kicking her while she's down. Jesus, it feels awful to even type what's about to happen, but I fear what could possibly happen to my children if I allow it to go any longer. Your kids come first, their safety comes first. I feel for your ex, but honestly, she's not your priority. If she can't understand you putting your children's emotional and physical welfare above your relationship with her, she doesn't need to be around them anyway. He's abusive, and your children need to be removed ASAP. Support your daughter, she may never forgive you if you don't, and she is so much more important than your ex. Not the idiot. You are the idiot, but not for the reason you asked about. You've left your kids in that environment after they told you about the abuse. Your ex is not holding up her end of the co-parenting plan because she's allowing her children to be subjected to abuse from her new husband. Get them the hell out of there if you have to call Child Protective Services to do it. The ex should provide documentation that this idiot, new husband, has made progress in therapy before your kids go back into that house. Do something about your kids being abused. Not the idiot. You aren't married to your ex-wife anymore, and you are still the father to your children. You need to focus on the more important relationship. If your kid's up abused, it could affect them for the rest of their life. If your wife can't see the kids while Robert is around, that will affect her to a much lesser extent. Heck, if Robert is also abusing your ex, as is often the case with abusive parents, having him banned from seeing your kids might give her a push in the right direction to escape a toxic relationship.